I just wrote this song, it's new. And it's called Have Gun Will Unravel. Good, I think I can handle that. Never sure when I'm writing this stuff, but anyway. And I've never performed this before people, but I think I know how to He's a bumbling, be that stun, four-letter words on the tip of my tongue, raw disgust added to a long list, butchers who carved a frittata, misconstrued. If he shot me in the street, all his fans would kiss his feet. Sentimentalists, sanctuaries behind masks, swarm the scaries, ice stormtrooper cosplay, evidently stir cray, blew those witnesses away. Hell is what our future holds at the hands of quick to scolds. Gotta get with the normal, better red than dead, or you'll wind up a renegade, bullets in the head, or a hunted Alex Preddy. Just go back to bed. Mar-a-Lago makeup eyes, frown frozen, hypnotized, bleak Botoxic never smiles, grinding teeth like crocodiles, skews the Epstein pedophiles, edgelords from the far extremes, open fire on decent dreams. Misery torn Middle East, missiles, drones, and bombs released. Rogue revenge, gotcha games, wield the tip for tat of flames, burned alive, flesh and flames. Meanwhile, gangsters on the take, profit off the make or break. Wow. I keep myself from going crazy.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It is my pleasure and my honor to be able to introduce our speaker this morning, Chaplain Olga Westfall. Chaplain Westfall was born in Ukraine, and right after, or right before the collapse of the Soviet Union, she became a Christian and worked in Kiev as a translator for various Christian organizations. And then in 1999, she came to the United States to pursue her education, which she did, so that in 2002 she graduated from Regent University with not one, but 2 masters in theology and counseling. In 2003, she became an active duty chaplain in the Army, and then in 2006 as an active duty Air Force chaplain. In 2009, she left active duty in the Air Force for the Air Force Reserve and joined the Atlanta Veterans Administration chaplaincy, where she currently works. What an incredible job that is to work with our veterans. And I've already mentioned that she does this beautiful art, which is done in a very specific Ukrainian folk art style. So please be sure after the service and come up and enjoy the beauty of this art. But for right now, help me to welcome to the podium Olga Westfall.
Well, thank you so much, Reverend, and thank you all for welcoming me, inviting me to come and be here. It's an honor for me. I will share briefly how I ended up all the way from Ukraine in the chaplaincy, and also what the chaplaincy is all about, because it's fascinating. We meet people where they are. We all are humans, we all have needs, and we often need somebody to listen. You know, that is also a special ministry, just to be there, to listen, to be there, to maybe hug, and maybe pray, or maybe just be there in silence, whatever works for somebody. So I was born in 1968. At that time it was Soviet Union. Ukraine was under, I would say, occupation of the Soviet Union, because it was a society with their headquarters in Moscow, in Kremlin, basically, but they dominated 15 republics, and Ukraine was one of them. There was Georgia, Baltic countries, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Azerbaijan, just a whole bunch of them. There were 15 of us. And I will tell you a little bit more, maybe that what you haven't heard. Can you hear me all right? Okay. What you maybe haven't heard, because I was born there. You know, I know the structure from within. The idea was always expansion. From the early childhood in schools, everywhere, they told us that we are red, we are Soviet, we need to dominate the world. That was in the Facebook, it was the paper. In our school books, the propaganda was also portrayed, big slogans in the streets. You would walk and you would see, they always were red for some reason. And how happy we are. And we as children were thinking, wow, I'm so glad that I was born in the Soviet Union and not somewhere in America, because people are suffering there, or in Europe, you know, people are so miserable there. And we always thought that we were happy, when in reality, we actually were poor, because all the money Soviet Union was spending for weapons and their, you know, whatever they were doing. But and that's how we grew up. I was born in eastern Ukraine, Dnipro city. Now it's Dnipro. It used to be Dnipropetrovsk. It took from my husband, he's an American, also veteran. It took him 2 days to learn to pronounce it. It's hard, Dnipropetrovsk. But when Ukraine started making changes in 2014, they got rid of the second part of the name, which was after this communist leader, Petrovsky. So they just called it Dnipro. And that's a huge city, about 1 million people, industrial, and it used to be a closed city for foreigners. No foreigners were allowed. You know why? We had nuclear weapon. We were making nuclear weapon. It was one of the cities that had strategic significance for the Soviet Union. Ukraine, when Soviet Union got dissolved, not just had third largest in the world arsenal of nuclear weapon, but it also was making. And my home city was one of them that was making. It's like the whole city was underneath. But when Soviet Union got dissolved, President Clinton had this project to talk to the countries to see if they would give up their nuclear weapon. You know, just only a few countries would have. And they approached Ukraine and they asked Ukraine to give up its nuclear weapon. In exchange, for a guarantee of territorial integrity, sovereignty. We will protect you, they said. We will be with you. And Ukraine said, well, who will attack us, right? So they signed what's called Budapest Memorandum. You can Google it, it's out there. At that time there was no European Union. So there were 4 countries that signed in Budapest in December of 1994. The agreement that is called Budapest Memorandum. It was United States, because it was the idea of the United States. Of course, Clinton was there, Russia was there. They also guaranteed the promise, territorial integrity and sovereignty. We will protect you. They invaded, right, 20 years later. And Great Britain and Ukraine, they did it. Later, France and China co-signed it. So Ukraine, my home city, got rid of it. A city became open, foreigners were invited. There was no military. Ukraine started getting rid of the military because now they had protection, right? They get guarantees that nobody will ever attack them. Nobody will change the borders of the country. So everything was fine. And it was very amazing to see the transformation of Ukraine when Soviet Union, that regime collapsed. Because under that regime, we were not allowed to, not just to speak outside the box, we were not allowed to think outside the box. And you have no idea what it is, when they put you in frame and it's like, this is what the party wants you to do. We had only one party, which was Communist Party. This is where we're going, it has to be out there. And if somebody thinks outside the box, you know what would happen to them? They disappeared. Or they will end up somewhere in Siberia or who knows where. No. That's how they dealt with the elements who would speak outside the box, because everybody has to go direction. And because the country is so huge, they were very repressive, because to hold everything together, they had to be repressive. And of course, people were afraid. And I was in the system, so, there were no religions allowed, none, not just, Christian or Muslim or Jewish or whatever, none, or even anything Unitarian or anything. It has to be on this Communist Party. That's how it is, and because they were afraid that you may think outside the box, wander around, or who knows, you'll be a troublemaker. They didn't want to have any troublemakers. When Soviet Union collapsed, we started, there were churches started appearing, congregations, all faith traditions. It became open. And since Ukraine, if you look at the map, it's like a cornerstone over there, transitioning, out there. We were very open, free-spirited. Ukrainians love freedom. And I know somebody who has a daughter in Ukraine, you probably will know, Ukrainians love freedom. And when we started traveling outside, we saw that there is a big world out there. And what the government used to tell us was a lie. It's not the case. It's opposite. So Ukraine was very excited to be free, democratic, independent, and Russia said, no, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be under us. We'll pull you back together. We want to restore Soviet Union, and here we go. Not that just tore into pieces Budapest Memorandum that they signed, they guaranteed, they violated, they became the aggressor. And then Ukraine, of course, were like, United States, you asked us to help, And, there were dilemmas. The war started, by the way, in 2014. And since I'm from Eastern Ukraine, I knew because even in those years, I know in 2015, I can't say he was my friend, but he was one of the pastors out there. He was killed. He volunteered to defend Ukraine. Although he actually wasn't even Ukrainian by nationality. He was from Belarus, but he was married to Ukrainian. But anyway, there were a lot of people, they saw what was going on. They saw what was happening, and they were afraid. They wanted to defend Ukraine, and after annexation of Crimea, there were parts of Ukraine that were occupied in the eastern part, and Russia wanted to take more, and they even came up with their name, what they wanted to do when they chopped Ukraine into Novorussia. My home city was supposed to be part of that Novorussia, according to the maps that they were drawing. And I know, because I am from there, I still have friends there, I still have relatives there. I spent 30 years of my life there. I know Ukrainians don't want to be some kind of, subject, colony called Novorussia. They want to be free, independent, democratic Ukraine. That's what they want. That's what all we as humans want, right? We want to be free. There's something in us that wants to be free. We want justice. We want peace. We want to to make our decision. Even if it's a wrong decision, it's our decisions. So anyway, not to be controlled. In Russia, of course it's controlled. And Ukrainians know, because since Soviet Union got dissolved in 91, we have memories. We know what it was like. And some people had nostalgia because they were younger, maybe. Some people understood. So there was kind of lots of confusion happening. So that's where I come from that society. And by miracles, I would say, when I turned 30 years old, I came to study. At first it was in Missouri. Nazarene Theological Seminary, and I was there for 1 year. But then I transferred to Regent University in Virginia Beach. And when I met the Dean of Divinity, he remembered me because I translated for university over there, where he came to teach for 2 weeks. And he said, "Oh, I remember you. And I donated my time. Not just translating the sessions, but in the evening when he and his friend who came to co-teach with him, I would translate for the students, not asking any money, anything, just to help. And little I knew that that kindness would pay back in many times. He said, "You know what? We'll put you for the best scholarship grant." So it's not that because I had no money. My mother died when we were in Ukraine. I was the only daughter. Anyway, I had no money basically. And he said that I will give you a scholarship to pay for your theology degree in divinity, and then 1 year of any other school. And I chose School of Counseling and Psychology. And I worked, 3 jobs, had no life, working hard, because I had to meet that criteria that they gave me. And little I knew where I will end up. I just wanted to be faithful and do my best where I was placed. And during the last year of my education, I met my future husband. He was at the time at the Navy, finishing his Navy career. He was injured when he was in the service. They had to cut his spine, but they actually, and they wanted to discharge him, but he won his case, and they let him stay for 2 more years. So we got married, and I finished my school and was ready to do whatever I could do. And, there were a lot of prayer, and somehow I met an endorser who told me about military chaplaincy. But I wasn't even a citizen. I had only green cards. How can I become a chaplain in the military? Navy, Air Force, they had great strict restrictions. If you are not a citizen, you cannot become an officer. But Army actually, for a short time, they opened the door. They took me in as a chaplain, and it was a miracle. But then when you become a military, if you're willing to die for the country, you have a right to become a citizen in an expedited way. So I filled up a package, and within 9 months, I became a citizen of the United States. So life was great, we were working hard, but then I decided to go to the Air Force. And so, any veterans here? Do we have anybody who's a veteran? No? Okay. No, that's all good. Because those have been, oh, okay, we have some.
I'm a veteran of the peace movement.
Yes. Good. So the thing is that there is a difference in culture of the military, and often everybody picks up on Air Force because it's more like that. Army is very rigid. Everything has to be put by the book. Air Force, yeah, by the book, but it's not that strict. Let's say that. And I was stationed. I was in the Army in Virginia, and then when I switched in 2006 to the Air Force, well, actually not switched. I finished, fulfilled my commitment, and then I gave birth to a child. So we had one child, and I got to the Air Force, and they sent me to New Mexico. So I was in the desert of New Mexico, and life was good out there. One of the commanders in our service wanted to adopt a child from Russia, and he would share with us the struggles that the Russian government was giving them to adopt. And I talked to my husband and I said, you know what? We are truly blessed. There are so many children in this world who need mom and dad. And I'm from Ukraine. I know there are orphanages out there. I know the culture. I know the language. Let's go to Ukraine and adopt 2 kids. We wanted a boy and a girl. But when we came to Ukraine, they said, no, it will be the 2 girls or 2 boys. So we decided to go with boys because we already had one. And they showed us pictures, and there were like 6 sibling groups, and one of the sibling group was in Crimea, and here's Dmitry. He came with me. We found him and his younger brother. Dmitry at that time was 8 years old, and his brother Alex. They were 2 different orphanages, although they were brothers but different fathers. But anyway. We met them and we told them, but you have also another brother in America. So I'm glad we had the chance to bring them to here, to our family, because when Russia annexed Crimea, a lot of those kids in orphanages became soldiers, were forced to be soldiers, to fight for Russia, for their crazy causes, to restore their empire, their understanding of, expansion. And it is sad. So at least we could rescue 2, and hope and pray for the other ones. But we know reality. We know what they do with the kids that they stole from Ukraine by this occupation. They brainwash them. They even show videos of them marching, practicing shooting from the rifles. They're already programming for the future wars. And these are Ukrainian kids. Isn't that something that is so wrong and evil? They shouldn't be doing it, but they don't care. Unfortunately, there is good and evil, right? And we need to be the light. We need to do what is right, to shine, to speak the peace, advocates for peace. So after the military, when we got the kids, it was kind of hard to be active duty, and I talked to Clay. We decided to be stable, to take care of the kids, put the family first, and that means a more stable home instead of all the transitions. So we came to Atlanta, and I was a student. Although I had chaplain school in the Army, then chaplain school in the Air Force, the Veterans Administration said, no, not too fast, you cannot become a chaplain unless you go through 1 year of clinical pastoral education. So I had to become a student, and now our students, we are broke, right? Because yeah, I had to leave all of that and was a student in their hospital, Atlanta VA Medical Center, and I absolutely loved it. My experience in the military helped me. My education in psychology helped me because I knew how to listen. I knew how to provide that care where people just wanted to be heard and kind of guide them to come to their decision that they feel like would be the right one. So after all of that, you know, I became a reservist, and then at first traditional reserve assigned to Dobbins. Then I went to IMA program. That is all you have to give is 24 days, basically kind of like hanging out there, you know, just do your physical fitness, you know, the trainings, just show up for 24 days and then you're done. But my main job was at the Atlanta VA Medical Center. So I've been on all the units during my, how many years now, since 2009. That's already, it would be 17 years. My main one is psychiatry. I am assigned to a psychiatric floor. I absolutely love it. I have also certification in post-traumatic stress disorder. So I know how to work with people who come from that background, and it could be either military or non-military. You know, things happen to all of us, you know, that unwanted, uninvited, unpleasant comes in your life. And what do? You know, you need help. And so we work along with the psychologist, psychiatrist, you know, he is a chaplain. So work together in a team. Again, when we came into the military, what they told us, the way how they train chaplains, is that we meet people where they are. Our goal is to defend their constitutional right to free exercise of their faith. And if they don't have any faith, it's their right. Whatever it might be the Christian or Muslim or Buddhist or Jewish, whatever it might be, it's there. You know, we as chaplains to support them, even if they don't. You know, that is their right. Whatever it is, we're there to help and support and encourage. So that is in the military, and basically same thing in the VA. We're there to meet people where they are, to help them in their needs, and help them to go through their process. We do spiritual assessments, but amazingly is that helps me to hear people's story. And some people like to talk, and some people don't. You know, and if they don't, you know, sometimes they feel like when chaplains come in, they feel like, especially on a psychiatric floor, it's like God sees me here, right? So maybe we'll make it. It's like, of course you will make it. You know, we need to help you, especially if they struggle with, let's say, suicidal thinking or addiction or whatever it might be. You know, to give another chance, because we all want to have grace, right? The other people wanted it too, and we're there to help. So when war happened in February, and I think I need to finish it, right? Okay, so I will finish. Just saying that when the big war happened on February 24, 2022, it was a shock not just to me, but to all of the Ukrainian community. We do have a community here that does all kinds of festival rallies for over 3 years. It was, you know, my house hosted, and we even were featured in some documentaries and the Caterers paper. But now we have a bank, and it's on Alpharetta. So my husband kind of said it's kind of hard to clean that garage because it was in a garage. This is it. We had a lot of people with the food, music, craft, art, and neighbors would come in. We advertised it, And Decatur City just loves to support us, and we had wonderful time. Not just Decatur, whoever wanted to come, Atlanta, Decatur, all good people to support Ukraine. So, but this time it's going to be on May 17. I will leave these flyers out here. You feel free to take. It's a free event. Everybody's welcome to come with music, food. Ukrainian food is going to be there, craft, and whatever is purchased out there, 100% is sent to Ukraine. And that's how we've done all our, things. We donated, we cook, we paint, whatever is sold goes out there. And this is also my way to support Ukraine. So it's my therapy. When I started painting, when the war hit us in a big way, prior to that, I learned a little bit when I lived in Ukraine, but then I started kind of mastering a little bit more. And the more you do, the better you become, I think, right? I'm not the greatest artist. I see you have a lot of great art out here, and I think it's awesome. It's awesome. So feel free to look. You will know that you're helping Ukraine. I have prices from $10, like magnets. It's just smaller pieces. And this is the most expensive piece, $160. It's pretty affordable, I think. And I try to make 3D with additional mold out there that I kind of like mold things into. Well, my husband is retired now, but he cuts out the wood. So that's all handmade, hand-painted, handmade, frames, everything. So, but don't feel like you have to I just wanted to show, and if you want to come next Sunday after this service, Claremont Community, Claremont Heights will host a festival on Woodmore Street. If you get to Claremont, it's the other entrance of Emory University. It's next to the VA. Then there is the street Desmond. As soon as you get to Desmond out there, there will be a little street Woodmore. There are only 4 houses there. It's really small. But I guess the main person who does these festivals, they wanted to do there. So they invite everybody, the neighborhood community. So I will be there. That's my neighborhood. That's where I live. And there will be more art out there. I didn't bring everything. That's how I spend my evenings. If I'm not in LA Fitness doing Zumba, painting, release stress. Self-care is important, and it helps me, and it helps Ukraine. So thank you so much, and again, it's my honor to be here. Thank you for supporting Ukraine. I can't even tell you what it meant to me when I saw Ukrainian symbol at the entrance. It just warmed my heart. I said to myself, I'm in the right place. Especially when we share. So we can change the world. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I took so much time.